Things essentially which I'm going to talk about. One is one of the priorities that how can you make cities smarter. I'll give you one just snapshot of one of the projects that I've done in that area, and I'll give you a snapshot of service design projects. Martha, could you?
This one?
Yes. Awesome. So this is if you know a lot of corporates and companies working on smart cities. This is kind of a graph that shows a lot of big players are actually trying to work in this market. Because people know life is changing, the way people are connected today is very different. Actually, we were in one of the conferences, I don't know who else was there, maybe Leah was there, Kia. But we discussed something that in the coming future, even though we have this hyper connectivity, the biggest problem we are all going to face is loneliness. So, because even though you're like hyper connected, you have 600 or 1000 Facebook connections or some social media connections, it doesn't become the reality because all your senses are not integrated there. You can't touch whatever you see. So it's kind of a confusion going on in your mind. This is the most boring slide you'll see on my presentation, but these are some of the facts just to remind us why are we talking about smart cities. You see, bigger cities are essentially just not sustainable at all, and we are trying to find ways to make them sustainable. 80% of world CO2 comes from cities. More than 50% of world's population today is living in cities. And it's again rising, and now we have problems aging and people are growing older, and we just live forever. Most of the problems we talk today just come out of the city. So that's why we have to address this problem so that we can go further. And something beautiful or strange or whatever you call it comes in here is all these devices that are there. Everyone has an iPad, a smartphone, a phone, an iPad. There's something there. So you are really connected in a very, very different manner today than you were many, many years ago. That has influence on our lives. So what we are trying to look at is how you use that reality and use it for the better of all of us. Okay, next. And I would usually spend more time on all of this, but we are kind of rushing, so I am very ready. Housing. So in the start I talked about in smart cities there are many things you look at. There's housing, there's life, there's transportation, mobility, how you live, how you breathe, which bars do you go. Everything really you look at all that, and that is all part of smart cities. Housing is absolutely important, but I'm not going to talk about that. We will do it together later. This is one of the inspiration projects that I wanted to share with you, just to show you the power of big data and analytics. This was project of Sensible City Lab, where I worked as well. It was called Real-Time Roam. It was one of the first projects that looked at data directly from cell phones and saw what happens in a city. So you see this is room for you. And these red areas show you the intensity of people or crowd that is there. And these yellow lines show you moving buses or transportation. So if just by looking at it, you can just tell so much about what is happening in a city. And that is essentially what we are still trying to do in smart cities. Because there are a lot of challenges. There's actually a lot of closed data. For example, also in MIT we established something. It was called privacy is a myth. Because there is no such thing. If you own a cell phone device, you are essentially trackable by someone. So there is no such thing. But the point is to make it in such an open way that, it's just like how drugs were allowed in Amsterdam, for example. At least there you don't really consume it. So maybe that's something we can learn from. But this kind of information has a lot of applications, such as today you wait for buses on the bus stand, right? There's a defined route, but tomorrow it's not going to be like that. So when you know all the people are here, you just take the buses there and fetch the people to whichever places they want to go to. That's not mine. Okay. And this is the project I mentioned. Trash Track. We'll have to press a lot of quick ones. Not yet, just a second. This is a project called Trash Track. We literally track garbage. So the idea was, I was the project leader for this in Sensible City Lab again, MIT, and we just wanted to track garbage for many reasons. You know, today, who got a coffee cup this morning outside? Anybody got coffee here? You went to the coffee shop and you got a coffee cup. What did you do with it?
Oh, I finished my coffee and it's in some bin out here.
Absolutely. So this is what we do every morning. Many of us, even I do that. I love coffee. We take this coffee cup, we drink it and we throw it away. For us, it's out of mind, out of sight. It doesn't exist for us anymore, right? But the reality is that coffee cup stays in the system for weeks in these trucks, or from one bin to a bigger bin, from bigger to a bigger one, and it just stays in the system forever. Even if it goes to a landfill, it stays there for another year. You don't know, yeah? It takes time for them to kind of become part of nature again. But the point is, this is just one example. Every day we consume so much, but we don't know what happens to trash. There was another question we tried to answer. Who owns trash? Do you own trash? Do you own your trash? City owns your trash. Who should own your trash, right? It's a thing we produce almost every day. So these small things, we have to think about them and try to answer them. I thought trash is one of those commons, you know. But today we only talk about beautiful commons like, oh yeah, this is a public space, we all own it. Why don't you own garbage? We should own garbage also. So, you know, there were many things what we wanted to achieve through this project, like understand how waste moves in a city sanitation system. We talked with some companies there and we were funded, and we wanted to look at how it actually traverses in city sanitation system. You know, you throw something in the perfect bin where you want to be, and this guy comes, he thinks he likes it, he takes it and he decides he doesn't like it, he throws it away again, and it's still not where it should be. So this Internet of Things allows you to see how these things move in reality and change your systems. You know, most of the systems we follow in the world today are really old, because, you know, like I'm from Pakistan, we still follow British law by heart. So these are a lot of things that we do. So okay, next. This is one of the service diagrams of how it works. It's not important. Next one, please. This is in the start how our tracker looked like. It had some sensors and we wanted to see, it was based on GPS. There were a lot of challenges when we were doing that, right? Trash, it can go into the water, people can kick it, people can throw it anywhere. You know, there were a lot of challenges. And the battery, because, you know, most of you, if you have a cell phone, you know how many times you have to charge your iPhone when you're using these services. So we had to design something very smart that would not consume a lot of energy and still give us approximately accurate data. And later we partnered with Qualcomm as well. It was a US firm to do this project. And our tracker also, you know, when our first tracker was this big, and in time it got smaller to that size. These were some of the packaging ways, these things. I was hoping I had the mouse myself, but it's a little difficult, okay? So we decided to track a lot of different kind of objects. So you know what we did in the city of Seattle? It's a beautiful city, you must go if you haven't been there. Very good seafood. We went around the city looking for some interesting trash objects. So we had this experts called end of life cycle experts, and they gave us a list of what we should track, like tires. You know, trash is good because tires are very, very valuable, and electronics. E-waste is such a big problem. It goes to most of the developing countries, and they just do what they do and do recycle it in their way. But with this kind of technology, we actually would know how it moves and where it goes. Next, please. So when we started tracking things, there were a lot of possibilities. You could track a coffee cup, you could track some piece of furniture, you could track your girlfriend or boyfriend if you wanted to track them, or whatever you wanted. And later on we had one more click. And later on we did these exhibitions in different libraries and museums. And this is one of the visualizations that won the NSF award as well. Just enjoy this. We tracked about 3,000 pieces of garbage. It continues to move all across US. It's still moving. 3 weeks. After a month. And that's where we dispatch all of this, right? After 2 months it's still moving. So if we know how things move, we can probably try to change that. So this is one kind of project that you can do, right? This is about understanding how people behave. Behavior for me is very important. Also when talking about living, lifestyle, walking, behavior is very important. And this is one side of the technology you can use. And then the other things are service design projects. How you can make small things to change the life of people in the local context. The idea was to do something. We developed about 6 potential service design projects, and this is one of them. You know, back in Pakistan and many developing countries, people sit on footpath waiting for, or roadsides or somewhere, waiting for jobs, labor work. So if we thought, what if we could provide them with a telephone call kind of service, which would just tell them, hey, are you available? So we designed this service so that if you needed a labor worker, you just call labor and it will connect you to the one available labor from the pool. So they don't really have to come out and wait there anymore. So with doing these things later, it would be great if you have any ideas, whatever we develop together later in the evening, just put them in simple visuals and just connect them with each other so that we have a solution kind of a thing. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the lecture.